Super Sunday! How are we doing, everybody? I'm back, couple days out of it, watching games, trying to give my takes on what's going on, but I am officially back. Great weekend of football, a lot of upsets. I mean, the Lions getting shellacked last night. That came out of fucking nowhere. RKO. Holy hell. You had the Chiefs beating the Texans, and Texans are complaining about the refs, and yada, yada, yada. A lot of stuff went down last night, but I am back. I'm hoping you guys are doing well today. I'm going to dive into both games, but off the top, I want to say this. This is why the NFL's king. It doesn't matter the location of the teams, where they're at, small market, big market. It does not matter. Detroit, Kansas City, let's go. They played last night. So, off the top, Houston in Kansas City last night. They just played Week 16 in that place. I've been there. It was loud. It's chaotic. It's awesome. One of the best venues I've ever been to in my life. Chase Mathis, people that I know that are Chief fans know what I'm talking about. It was fantastic last night. And what I'm watching with the Chiefs, and I'll get to Houston in 1 second, is just remarkable. Okay? I told my dad this. We were driving to Costco yesterday, and we were driving around, and I was at work yesterday a little bit and trying to discuss this and who to compare Mahomes to. And I came up with two guys that off the top of my head I've said. He's a combination of Brett Favre and Tom Brady. Now people say, whoa, Brett Favre 3 picks. Whoa. What I mean by that is this. That guy plays with a passion and a fire and just that loves the game. And I feel that when I saw Brett Favre play. Now, Favre was stubborn because he knew he had the best arm in the league. And it was a different time back then. And so now I get it. And then Tom Brady's will. And his resourcefulness and all that. So you get Brett Favre, a combination of Brett Favre and Tom Brady with this guy, unstoppable. And it is just on display every time I watch him. And listen, we can talk about the refs, and I'm going to go into that in a second. But I just got to tip my hat for the Chiefs. I'm a Raider fan. I'm repping it today because I'm just, when the Raiders aren't playing, I'm rooting for, other teams to beat them. But I'm rooting for the Raiders to obviously do well. And hopefully it's leaning toward maybe Ben Johnson. I don't know. I'd rather have Cliff Kingsbury on the other side of that field after what he did last night. But Ben Johnson, I don't know. We'll see. I'll dive into that in a second. So off the top with Houston. It just started crazy. First play of the game, I'm getting home from Costco, and then they return the kickoff, and then he throws his helmet on the field, and he's shoving a coach, and I was hearing Coach JB, who was from the Netflix show Last Chance U, who I always appreciate because he's old school, and he don't take no bullshit. He's a man's man, smoking cigars, having his yacht. I love it. And last night, I saw the video on TikTok before it got banned. Drive me nuts. But, I will say this. I appreciate his honesty last night. And, listen, Mahomes has gotten so away with so much shit. I get it. But the Texans had problems yesterday. And when you had, I wrote this down this morning. I was watching Cowher talk about it, and then I kind of saw a YouTube comment of what Cowher was talking about and kind of commented on his video. And I wrote this down this morning. A blocked field goal, missed PAT, 8 sacks taken, 1 TD scored, 12 points of offense. Sounds like that blown out. Now, they outgained them by like 100 yards and they didn't have any turnovers yesterday, which going into games like that, I believe teams like 100-0 or something like that, or 49-0 in the postseason. That was just rare yesterday. And I will say this with Houston. They are a battle-tested team. I love what D'Amico brings. I think him and Nick Caserio have done a fantastic job of building this team with good free agent signings, kind of like Minnesota did after the 2023 season where they got Blake Cashman, they got Danielle Hunter. They're building this thing up, and I'm appreciating what Houston's doing. CJ Stroud had a slump, okay? We're going to talk about another guy in a second that I think's getting that, even though he's playing really well, and he's playing well. I'm not trying to discredit. But I just think we need to pipe down now, okay? A little bit. But I am appreciative of C.J. Stroud last night. I mean, how could you not? I'm watching that game last night. And sometimes Bobby Slowick and all these Kyle Shanahan guys. Can I ask a question? Why are we going all these big plays down the field? If my O-line's getting smoked, can we go quick game? Get quick game, get out in the flats. I don't get it. I never understand with these offense coaches. But Bobby Slowick, man, what a difference a year makes. Because last year, Bobby Slowick, oh my God, he's so good. And now it's like, is he? I don't know. They're 21st in the league in passing, and they ran the ball well, but we don't know what they are identity-wise. And that's what I felt with Houston all year. They've been so inconsistent. So this is what kind you get with Houston. Now, do I think that C.J. Stroud's a 10-year starter? Absolutely. That was on display last night. His toughness, his leadership, his maturity, all that stuff, check, the boxes. Now, is he a trailer truck guy where he can carry a team? Potentially. I mean, they were missing their lineman last night. He's still making throws. So, but it does help when he's got Nico in there. When they do not have Nico Collins, that is a big loss to them. And you saw it in the games this year. That's why I think he had the sophomore slump. But I will say this with Houston, just to recap, and then I'll get into Kansas City. They are 1 year away, Houston is. Because I think they need one more draft to really play with Kansas City. And you saw it yesterday. They can play with Kansas City. They can. That defense, Will Anderson, and don't even get me started on those fucking calls. Because that was bullshit last night. Even though Houston didn't play well on the stuff that I just mentioned, the NFL's got to do a better job. Stop protecting Mahomes. Please. I respect Mahomes. But it's becoming really annoying. And showing Taylor Swift and all this shit. Obviously, I'm not going to say this is scripted or rigged. It's football. It can happen anytime. This is sports. But knock it off. I mean, come on. Do better, NFL. Calling a personal foul. The two guys collided. They ran into each other. It was like the Three Stooges. I mean, what are we doing? That's a penalty? Crock of shit. And by the way, I got to throw this caveat out. Excuse me. It is the infamous anniversary of the Tuck Rule today. Raider fans, please pray with me. Okay. I'm over it. I never really watched it, but it does trigger Raider fans. Okay? Just throwing it out. So, I want to talk about Kansas City. I know I was going on a diatribe about the NFL, whatever. But I want to talk about Kansas City. So, Kansas City, salute to them, cap to them. They won at home again. And listen, this AFC West was better than people thought. They had two teams in the playoffs this year. So it was not a shitty division. Kansas City had to fight and scratch. Now, they obviously were 15-2, but they played, Denver in the playoffs, and you had Chargers in the playoffs when nobody predicted them to. Now, before the year, from looking at my stat notes here, it's great having you guys in, I did have the Chargers second in the division and then make a playoff. So I was right on that. But I just felt like all year long, the Chiefs were just kind of scrapping by. And this feels very Jordan Bulls, the Patriots, late with Brady. Very good situational. Very good in terms of, when the team mistakes, they pounce on it. And they capitalize. Excuse me. So, I do think the Chiefs, now, could they win the Super Bowl this year? I don't know. Now, what NFC team do I trust that's remaining? Because there's only two now left. There's four okay. Right? Okay. Because there's two left. Either Rams or Eagles, whoever wins this game, goes on. Now, if I'm a betting man, I would probably say the Eagles. But after watching what the Rams have done lately, I might take the Rams. Because I think they're more likable. I think they're more, in terms of roster, obviously Philly's better. But I look at this Ram team, I root for Stafford more. And listen, I like Jalen Hurts. I'm not trying to shit on him. But this Philly thing is just very annoying to me. I don't like Sirianni. I think that's been, I don't need to ad nauseum in it anymore. But I just think that the Eagles aren't a likable team. Maybe it's because they're from Philly and everybody's so pissed and angry and intense and all that, and jet stream of anger. But I'm rooting for the Rams hard today. And Noah Leasing, I follow him. I've known him a long time. He's the biggest Ram fan I know. So I'm pulling for the Rams today. And I'm rooting for Stafford. I've been a Stafford fan my whole life. I do think he's the modern-day version of Brett Favre, as I mentioned. So we shall see how that game goes. I'll give you guys my reactions to that tomorrow. But I do think Kansas City's going to win. They got home field again. And I'm just very impressed. And what I mean impressed is, can the Raiders ever become just stable? Like the same coaching, same continuity, coaching staff, players. You're going to lose them every year, but just that consistency and that continuity. I'm pulling maybe with Tom Brady at the helm. We'll see how that works. But I just was very impressed last night with the Kansas City because they don't play perfect football a lot of the time, and they end up winning. So very good by the Chiefs. They won last night. Now they just got to cross their fingers who they'd rather play is Baltimore because you can defend Lamar better. And I'll give you guys my post game tomorrow to that game because that game is going to be awesome. It's going to be like Undertaker for Stone Cold SummerSlam 98. It's going to be big, massive. I can't wait for it. Neither can you because I'm going to be hyped, okay? But the Chiefs, to me, they just got to pray and hope that they play the Bills because that's going to be a tougher matchup for them than the Chiefs. Or than the Bills, or the Ravens, excuse me. Get my head all scrambled here. But just to cap that off, Chiefs win. They remind me of the 90s Bulls. Texans got a lot of troubles, but tip of the cap to them. They scrapped, they clawed, even though it was inconsistent this year. 2 years in a row, won the division, got in the playoffs, and won a game. So, the other game I want to touch on, and I know this is a topic I've been hearing all morning. The Lions lost last night to Mike Kesnick, to Derek Solomon. My guys that are Lion fans, what a gut wrench. Because this year, I really bought in, and I still buy into the Lions, man. This was a bad year for the injury bug to happen, and it did happen to the Lions. Excuse me. And when you got a lot of injuries like this, your offense has to play absolutely chef's kiss perfect, okay? And they didn't last night. Goff had 3 turnovers. He had the fumble. He had the 2 picks. And it just was a snowball. And I just feel like the Lions, to me, they're going to be okay. I know Lion fans. I saw some Barstool Detroit people. Same old Lions. I don't know about that. I don't know if it is. Because this is a different Lion team than when you guys grew up in. And you guys should cherish it. Dan Campbell is different. He's big. He's brash. He's got an alpha. He's got a presence. And, listen, is he kind of like Nick Sirianni, where the coordinators mainly were like the reasons for success? That could be a fair argument. I don't think it is. It obviously does help, but we'll see what happens. Does Aaron Glenn leave? If they lost Ben Johnson, I was thinking about this today, I think that's a big loss. But I don't think it's as bad of a loss. If you lost Aaron Glenn, that's a different story. Because what he did against the Vikings, that is just masterclass. With all those guys banged up, with everybody out, and he's doing it with guys off the street, coming in on Wednesday, that to me is impressive. And I don't think you can find another D coordinator like that. Now, next year for the Lions, the good news is you get Aiden Hudson back, you get Carlton Davis back, you get all these guys back, and it's the same team. They're like the Niners right now. They're in this window. Now, they got to close it because they got the NFC Championship game and they lost. And my dad texted me last night, like, we shouldn't have bought the hype. I've fallen victim to that. I drank the Kool-Aid. However, I still think they're a very good football team. And Jared Goff's underrated. He's a very good quarterback. Is he ever going to be Mahomes? No. Lamar? No. Allen? No. But he's a very, very good quarterback when you got the piece around him. And he gave him an O-line in L.A. with McVay. It ended poorly. We got it. Now in Detroit, he's loved, and it's going great. So hang your hand up high, Lions. I know it's a shitty season. Shitty way to end the year. But I may make this argument. These bye weeks for teams, I'm always weary of it because you never know. The rust and the momentum and all that, you never know. So the one thing I will recap on the Lions, they're going to be okay. They're going to be fine. But you got to find offensive coordinator quickly and you got to find defense coordinator quickly because I've been told, and I got this this morning, is that these jobs are going to fill fast. So cross your fingers that both of them stay, or if one of them leaves and one of them stays. We don't know, but we'll get into that later on in the week. So I want to touch on the Commanders, and I'm not trying to hate on the Commanders. I know my buddy Connor Hickey from Vincent's that I went to college with. I want to give a shout out to him. He's loving it this morning, and I would too. Listen, if my Raiders hadn't won a playoff game since 2002 and we won, I'd be hooping and hollering yippee. I would be happy. And I like Dane Daniels a lot, okay? I do. And I liked him more than Caleb, and I do. But I just feel like we got to pump it a little bit. I saw this movie with Mark Sanchez early on in his career. Got to 2 AFC Championship games, never got back, never made the playoffs with the Jets. Excuse me. I'm looking at RG3 had a great rookie year for the same franchise, and then a shitty fucking ending. And I just, it's hard to stop him. I get it. But I'm looking forward. If whatever happens in the game next week, in the whatever the winner is of Rams-Eagles today, I need to know, from my standpoint, how are they going to play him next year? Because this year, it's hard to defend him. They got all those triple options. You don't know if he's handing the ball off, pulling it, and then throwing off the flat like he did to Ertz last night. You don't know. But this offseason, they're going to study it because I saw it with RG3. I've seen it with all these quarterbacks that kind of run around and stuff. Lamar, same as. So we'll see what happens. But be happy. Excuse me. Be happy with the Commanders because they are playing well, and Dan Quinn's got this D.C. area fired up. It hasn't been fired up like this since Private Parts came out in '97 when Howard Stern was there. It's been lacking, and I get it. For the nation's capital and the Pentagon and all that cool shit going on, it's been dead with sports. I mean, they've just been... Now, Nationals had some run, and the Wizards are just a mess, and hockey team's not bad. But football is pretty big in that D.C. area. I mean, there's a lot of good football, high school football. You obviously are close to Baltimore, that area, and it's just coming down. But you got to be happy this morning. And I got to give tip of the cap to Dan Quinn and that staff and Kingsbury. They're playing phenomenal. But I think rubber's going to meet the road against the Rams or against one of these teams. So just throwing it out. Appreciate you guys listening. Got more content coming out. We got 2 games coming up. Recording this right before the Rams-Eagles game in Philly. It's going to be snowing. I love that. Football weather. Badass. Hell yeah, let's go. And we got the big game tonight. Big matchup. Bills in Ravens in Buffalo. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. 2 of the biggest young stars in the game. Excuse me. So stay tuned throughout the week. I got a lot of content coming out. I'll give you guys my reactions to those games tomorrow. Coaching news, all this stuff, and it's my birthday week. So, adios. Have a great day. Stay tuned throughout the week. I got more content coming. Love ya. Have a great one.